you are What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Sarlacc Digest, a podcast bringing line talk and digesting Star Wars topics over 1,000 years. This is episode 299.
Whoa.
What? 299 being recorded on March 19, 2025. I am your host, Darth Moocher. I've said that 299 times already.
Whoa.
Got Scott Solo here.
What's up, nerds?
Got Grand Admiral Franz.
Heidi ho.
And no Ernie today. No Ernie tonight, guys. He's studying. He's doing the Lucian thing, studying for the job interview, you know, in front of the mirror and doing things. So
everybody wish him luck. He needs the raise, right?
Yes,
Got
exactly.
toys to
So
buy.
we're here to hold the fort down, and of course we will. Before we get into it, Scott, Shadow Council, and by God, the pit. Look at him go. Just
By
look
God,
at
the
him.
pit. I know, right? Those guys. Jesus, those guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back in Sarlacculations or whatever they're saying in there. That was kind of clever. I like that.
Yeah.
Welcome back, and especially these fine folk here, the Sarlacc Digest Shadow Council. That is our Patreon crew. If you're interested in joining that Patreon crew, to go to patreon.com/Sarlacc Digest Podcast and donate a couple of bucks. We appreciate it. It all goes right back in. Commander Bly, who's Ernie. It all goes right back into the making of this show. And, you know, without you, it wouldn't be this cool. the people, these fine people, AJ from the Forbidden Panel, Brandon and Anya Epler, Brian C., Cliff Commander Bly, who is always first, even when he's not. We all know he is. Then there's Commander Cook, Crystal E., Don the Dad Dorn, Eric Grubb, Gavin Connor from the Holy Hour All Cure podcast, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Justin the Vanilla Thunder, Mervine Bolanos, Matt Logic Muftak is back, Nicholas Schaefer, and Ryan with the Star Joe's podcast. So yeah, come on, folks, join our Patreon crew and you can take part in some of the fun and festivities, like, I don't know, helping out maybe in the future with Pit Droid stuff.
Definitely.
Maybe. But don't stop me here. Don't stop me now. I can go in here and I can say that, I'm going to start shouting out the people in the pit here. But I will say, I was witness this morning. Commander Bly absolutely was first, even though it's disappeared. I think Chris might have deleted it this time. Commander Bly, it wasn't me. It for sure wasn't me.
I don't have the power.
$1.99 says
they keep the keys away from me.
Yeah.
It just breaks.
If the pass has any
indication. Yeah.
Commander Bly, he was first. I see it.
He was first, and now I see it now. Yeah, I don't know
Bly.
what Chris
Thank you
did.
so much for that.
Whoa, Stu John.
I know. I see Stu John hitting us with a $2 super chat.
Whoa,
the power
We're
of
gonna
paying
auction
more
it
to be
off
first
soon.
here.
can I get a $2.01? Can I get a $2.01?
That's
Can
awesome.
we go 3?
That is fun.
Start moving this needle.
Oh, I thought we were just working in penny increments. So,
Stu John's
we
first. Stu John's first.
Well, I was trying to stay under the tax threshold.
That's
Oh,
right.
right,
Exactly.
we have No One Watches
Hey.
Party standing by. What's up? We've got the mighty Hell Runner base.
Yes, sir.
We have got, of course, you already called out Stu John, but just in case, Stu
Yeah,
John,
hey.
I got your back, man. I know you're here. That's cool. That's cool. We've got Don the Dad Dorn in here. We've got Mr. Rhino Hobbies. We've
Yes.
got Dr. Basil G. Lord, I don't know, whatever else I can think of. It's one of those days, I tell you. Let's scrolling down. We got Mando Mike in here. He's shined his helmet and he's here in the chat. So, yeesh. Yeah. So if you are also in there, oh, look at that. We got Blitz Transmissions popping in.
Pop it in to
This
drop
guy.
a like. You guys are getting a shout out on my video on Friday. Can't wait to catch the replay. May the force be with you. Also, Star Wars 77 forever.
So Chris hasn't been part of this conversation. We're going to
still
have to
admit
circle back.
Pit people, though, right?
Yeah, we are.
We're not
We are. We're going to circle back to this in just a second, though, just to get your opinion on this. We've also got William Rodriguez in there. What's up, William?
up?
How's it going, man? And the mighty Rick Jones. What is up? But don't worry, Ernie's fine. Stick with us. We'll keep you entertained for the next hour or so.
Let's we need to fact check Mando Mike up there on Ernie's the one on the one of the ones on the podcast with hair. He wears a hat.
Yeah, the hat fool you. If I grew my hair out, I'd look like that too.
Yeah.
Oh no, man!
It's a long beard.
It's
He just kind of combs it over.
Goes.
Mando
Yeah.
Mike with a $5 super chat. Whoa!
Thank you,
Whoa.
Mike.
Thank you,
Look
buddy.
at that.
Thank
Mike
you.
was first.
Mike's first.
Mike's first. Okay, that's how it goes now, I guess. So yeah. Okay, so we're doubling back here to this comment from our good pal Tommy. So apparently, the younger generation has decided that they're going to call Star Wars, the original before the special editions, before A New Hope was a thing. They're going to call it Star Wars 77, and apparently it's catching on. How
Like
do
X-Men,
you feel?
like X-Men 97 or whatever.
Exactly.
Well, first off, have
Exactly.
you ever heard that being
Yeah.
referred to?
No,
Because you got some younger people in your house.
no, nobody would say that.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody would dare say it.
We either say if we say Star Wars, we know what we're talking about, right? Hey, you gonna watch
Right.
Star Wars? Unless, I mean, if the kids say it. If my wife says it, she means any of them. She could,
Right,
do it,
right,
right. Like
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, we can watch a Star Wars if you want, babe, like that kind of thing. But if they say
Right,
Star Wars, Empire, Return, we say that or New Hope, Empire, Return.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no confusion on us, and then we just say special edition or unedited, whatever. You
Right.
know, we know how we already have it broken down.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So I feel like adding the 77 at the end just kind of, I think it's an unnecessary.
that would be cool if two things. Either they bring
Okay.
it like we've done it comic form before, right? A comic like a new version of a comic of A New Hope and call that Star Wars 77, or an animated. I've always wanted to see an animated redo. We saw that anime with the TIE fighters and stuff.
Yeah.
Do something like that. Call it Star Wars 77. Make it The New Hope, just redone in that version, and then call it something like that. And I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know, shit, you can go through them all like that if for all I care.
I mean,
you know, but
just to have.
But then
that
what
in
are we
the
going to
world
do?
is
Are we going to call Empire Star Wars 80?
80.
Yeah.
I think
No?
it would just be 80, go 80, 83, 99, 202, and then
right.
go
I mean,
up and leave
God.
Then leave it. Yeah.
and then leave it.
Leave it at that.
No, and then redo 7, 8, and 9 animated, but like those special editions.
Yeah.
Right? You do the 6.
Oh God, you're
perfectly,
making this way too complicated.
and then make the 9. Well, if they do animated, I'm just going on. Hey, the Star Wars 77 doesn't. How about this? Star Wars 77 doesn't work for the original stuff, but if you want to update something and call it that, like they do with the Batman comics, everything else, things like that, totally cool. Because then you're telling me you're flashing back to something, but tweaking it a little bit or modernizing it a little bit.
Right.
Cool, but not the original.
Interesting.
Exactly.
They're already handled.
Yeah.
Well, Felipe is checking in, and he doesn't think young people like Star Wars, though.
That's the other point.
True.
Yeah.
Commander Bly, like Tommy doesn't like Star Wars. He really doesn't like it. I mean,
No.
let's be honest here.
My kids respect. I think I know I've said this before. They respect it, but man, when you watch a marathon with them, they will tear me apart. As soon as you go from 3 to 4, they're like, "What are we doing here?"
Well, especially if you throw Rogue One in the middle there.
Yeah.
No,
that actually helps a little bit.
Slows down the pacing a bit, but
and it's less colorful, right? So it's
Yeah.
not such a shock to jump into that. But
like I said, it like I have been saying before, like Star Wars. Everybody knows what the OT, the original trilogy.
Mhm.
It's made. It's not funny in the way that the prequels are funny. It's not bright and colorful and goofy like the prequels, or even the sequels had some of that real PG tone to it, where it's kind of violent but not. But like the original trilogy is violent, but it was
they got Jawas and Ewoks, and I mean I get that,
and they're violent
and Rancors and stuff.
Yeah,
they're violent.
They're not slapsticky. They're not slapsticky. Like,
sometimes they sure are,
but
the
works
droids
for
can
some
be,
reason.
the Ewoks can be, the Jawas can be.
Yeah,
Chewie can be a little bit.
Only when he does a Tarzan howl while he's swinging into an ATST. Yeah.
There's certain things that
they all have their moments, but I feel like 77. I agree
that's what I
with
mean,
you.
Commander Bly.
Right, the OT are not goofy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying though. Like if they would have done the comic book continuation and not called it Star Wars, but called it Star Wars 77, then you would have known it rolled off of that, except for the fact that this is all happening a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and dates don't matter. So
yeah, it just validates the millennials saying it's 77. You know what I mean? It just validates it if you're gonna officially
old
canonize
folks,
it.
for the old people.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the whole thing.
Then you got to start doing Spider-Man 02 and
right. I think that what it was, it came up
on the
because,
Dad Dorn has spoken. Star Wars 77 just doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Well, just we never referred to it, and they kept saying it. People are referring to it, and like they're trying to make it a thing. So,
well, let's tell them not to.
Yeah, not mad at it. It's just like we
wouldn't have to.
They're watching it. They're watching it, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah, I mean they can call it whatever they want as long as it's not branded that.
Yeah. Like I said, don't canonize it.
Yeah.
And we're good.
They were good. That's the Commander Bly. It's either A New Hope or Star Wars. That's it. Commander speaking the truth. Felipe, now Rogue One is okay. It's more of a we tried, but the Empire is the Empire. Like good guys not always win. Yeah, I mean that's the whole lead up to A New Hope, but original trilogy has some grit to it. It has some adult tones to it, more so than any other Star Wars there is, and there's a. Anyway.
I don't know, man. There was a lot of sand and grit in the Phantom Menace. Just ask Anakin; he knows.
There
I'm
was
trying
a lot,
to be serious here.
No, there was a different tone in Revenge. That wasn't not a kiddie tone. That was from the start.
Yeah, but it still was like bubbly. It was like a bubbly, serious.
It's
movie.
just.
I know.
What you're talking with TV too, right? Whenever they remake something old and they put it out new, I don't care what the story is or anything. Everything looks so much more fake now.
Yeah,
it's so crystal fucking clear.
You're right.
You know,
the darkest of all
cheesy.
Star Wars is Episode 3, hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, even darker than Empire. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, right? Well, anyway, guys, we are how many days away? We are 34 or 30 days away from Celebration, 34 days away from Andor, and Celebration dropped their schedule of events. So we've got the whole slate. We've got Celebration is laid out before us now. It's all there, and I have it here if you guys want to peruse it. But as I was going through the whole schedule of events and everything, it was just like we said. It had the opening ceremonies, but opening ceremonies are not streamed. Everything else is streamed. They had the Mando Grogu, Ahsoka, Visions, and Andor 2. Those are the 4 flagship main content, right? But they do have the closing ceremonies, and they are streamed 3:00 on Sunday. So I don't know if that's specific time or
nothing
Eastern.
About the state of the saga, nothing like that. Where they're going to announce that's maybe closing ceremonies type of thing. That's something they would do on opening ceremonies.
That's something they would do on opening ceremonies, right? They would have a slate or whatever, and because they are having opening ceremonies, but it's not streamed. So I was making a mental note of that. I'm like, all right, they're not streaming that. The first thing that's streamed is the Mando Grogu right after the opening ceremonies. So I'm sitting there going, okay, this is, I don't think we're in for any surprises other than something that happens in between, maybe some sizzle reels, some minor trailer things from Mando Grogu. Obviously, I think we are going to get a sizzle reel from Mando Grogu. I would think so. Yeah, and that's going to be the first thing, because that's the first thing right off the bat, the first major thing on Friday. We'll get that. There is an Ahsoka panel. Didn't necessarily say Ahsoka 2, it just said Ahsoka panel on Saturday. But it's interesting because I'm sure that they're going to talk about the future of that and how, because again, it was confirmed by Filoni and everybody that they are working on it. It is coming. We just don't know when, in a time frame. Of course, Visions 3. Oh, there's an animation panel, 20th anniversary animation panel that they could announce some cool things moving on. Maybe whatever that Asajj spinoff could be. I think that would be a surprise sneak into that panel. Of course, like Andor, and again, it's just because the people at Celebration are going to see Andor, but we'll see it that Tuesday.
Right.
And then a thing to note is closing ceremonies are on Sunday, and it is streamed. And that's where you're going to find out the next Celebration, and maybe they'll save the slate for that. Or maybe some sort of surprise for that, because they've surprised us in the past. They surprised us with Kenobi. They've surprised us with, a bunch of trailers before, but there was a lot of content coming out also,
Or maybe nothing. And it's just exactly what it says.
Or it is what it is. Exactly how it is what it is.
We'll talk to you next year when we get through all this shit.
It's like we promised nothing.
Hey, under promise, over deliver, please, for God's sake, because you've been over promising, under delivering for a minute.
That should be a pillar of Celebration Japan. You know what I mean? We got 3D Trooper,
What's up?
TD 3 Trooper. What's up, my dudes? That caught me surprised. We also have Alexander Storm checking in.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah. Man, I can't wait for the shitty 1/4 screen cell phone footage of Scissor Rolls. Yeah.
I think he's joking, but I mean, I'm dead serious. That's part of my favorite thing about Celebration.
We will eat it up we'll lap it up like it's.
We were at Celebration.
Yeah.
Right? And couldn't get into shit. And we were watching the shitty.
Oh, yeah.
Right
on
after,
the floor, right?
We sat on the floor and watched them.
Check this out. This is
Celebration. We're watching them.
It's going on live right there in the next room. And we
couldn't get in. And let's watch it.
We've got Douglas Tupper checking in also. So Commander Bly, oh man, Alex is here. I'm out. Yeah.
Wow.
But the only difference between this Celebration and the other ones, these are being streamed. So I think they did that last time, right? They streamed the panel and then they cut it off for any
special
footage.
Stuff. Right.
I would think a teaser trailer. Sure, that's going to be one of those block cutoff thing, but a sizzle reel. Right. Because that's going to come on Disney Plus. They always kind of delay it, right? So, yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah.
I'm with Chris though. I really am with Chris when the dust settles after this whole thing is done. I really hope they under promised, over delivered on it. That would be very surprising. And I'm not talking about coming in with a big slate behind you and 50 more projects. No, it's just some sort of surprise would be nice though.
They've done that in the past, which, we threw up the old, as a matter of fact, I think we still have that graphic, the old slate where, things popped up, it's kind of our little makeshift version of it. But it's like Star Wars Eclipse. That's still on here. And we haven't heard anything about that in 3 years now.
Yeah. Taika's gone. Droid Story's gone. Lando's up in the air.
Yeah.
New Jedi Order and Dawn of the Jedi are out there. I mean, but still, act like season 2 is horseshit. That's not happening.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Before we also had the Rangers of the New Republic was out there.
Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron, right? So I would rather have a succinct showing of things that are actually in production, in some form of production at the moment, right? I mean, even Rey's new Jedi Order movie is in the throes of like a 3rd or 4th rewrite. So it's technically in production. So
which is like Commander Blythe, stop announcing anything. I just said stop announcing until you've got a green light, like a real green light, meaning
and a written damn script.
But there's content already there and ready to be shown in a rough format, knowing that we are going to release this and not just the title and everything.
I want your already written thing.
This is
not, hey, we have this written, we're ready to go. Not, hey,
Kenobi announcement,
an idea.
Right, Kenobi, perfect, right?
Yeah,
right.
Kenobi's doing it. All of a sudden, 6 months, it's here. Boom.
Or surprise us and just only show things that are actually that you literally have footage for, right?
Yeah,
just show.
The best thing they do with that is the freaking Clone Wars stuff, right? Like they always did that when you would sneak out with Clone Wars or things like that were sneaky. The animation is easier to, or the tails, all the tail stuff besides Visions. Revisions they announce so people get ready for it.
Yeah.
Most of the tail stuff come out pretty. We don't know. We don't have a whole lot of advance notice on those. Is what I'm saying.
Right. No,
it's
Tails
like, look at that.
Announced all of a sudden it's announced and it's being released November of this year.
Yeah,
and I do it. And I can see that absolutely happening, right? So and Rhino is like, Kennedy's going to do the Ian McDermott thing, come out there and I'm back. I'm not going anywhere.
Or announce
you get one guy in the crowd.
No, dude, everybody in Celebration goes nuts about everything.
You're right. She can say, I'm here. I cloned myself and there's 50 of me now.
I'll be here forever, folks.
Yeah.
Rhino Hobbies, or announce after a production is wrapped, which would be ideal because you still have a year to a year and a half of post-production. So it's not like you're,
Yeah, we're not in the old times no more, man. Everybody's sneaky, everybody's leaking shit, and everybody's got the internet. So
exactly.
It's gonna get out.
Nerd Alert is checking in. What's up, nerds? Just landing. What's up? Felipe, didn't the Rey movie writers resign? Well, I think they're on their 3rd writer at this point. And then what comes out on that movie, it comes out like we have a new writer, Daisy, and then Daisy Ridley comes out. I'm really excited. Then everybody goes nuts, and it dies down. Then they lose their director, and then then they'll lose their producer, then they'll lose their director, then they'll lose another writer. And
what's wild is there's a Rey movie and a new Jedi Order movie that's supposed to include Rey, right?
I thought that was one and the same
thing.
I thought
it was one and the same.
I think there's two. Let me check it. I think there's 2 different directors. One's Sean Levy, but
Sean Levy is what? You're right. What was Sean Levy?
Wasn't Sean Levy announced for an episode, like a further adventures past the Rey movie? Because the Rey movie was the new Jedi Order, and then Sean Levy's was the next.
But I think what Chris is saying, maybe Rey's movie launches that where
that's what I'm wondering.
You have to have that as a tie-in, even if you fast forward to 50 years, then you have the new Jedi Order IP or era. In that era, but you needed you needed a movie to bridge it, right? So
Levy's is a separate one, supposedly starring Gosling. Remember, that's that piece. But it's not supposed to be separate from the Skywalker saga, so that would take it away from Rey. but it would be after Rise. So
watch, it's going to end up being Rey's son. And Rey's son, she's named him, I don't know, Anakin Skywalker the second. Or something
yeah,
like that.
Anakin's.
But that's in the saga. It's supposed to be away from the saga. It's supposed to be.
Oh, Douglas Tupper. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
No. I think we're on the same page. But I long for these days. Hold it quiet until it's filed in the box. Like I long for the days of just sitting in a movie theater and then all of a sudden a trailer comes on and I knew nothing, and then 3 months later it's out. I miss those days.
Right. To look at Bly's point right there, the big one. So you know, and how they were able to keep Grogu under wraps, right? Grogu, Ahsoka, and Luke. All three of them have blown us away throughout these series. That's pretty big, right?
You're right.
But that's something that was they could film in one room with a very few people that had to know, and they could sneak it in, right? With very few people knowing. Doing a whole flick or a whole show takes a whole crew and a lot of people and auditioning and things like that. It would get out.
They need to announce stuff like that, right? Like a movie, they could probably really keep it under wraps, but
it's a big crew, man. That's a lot of people working. That's a lot of crew. Union gigs. It gets out. We're doing a Star Wars movie here, and people start snapping pictures.
Yeah. Douglas Tupper wants season 3 of Resistance.
It's getting announced. I heard it's going to be in the animation panel.
Oh my God!
Clamoring for it on X.
What if they do? Really? God. What if they do?
There are probably 4 people that really like Resistance.
They're like, and
none of the 3 in here are those people. So
no matter how many times I've tried.
Yeah.
Twice.
But all right. So I think we could probably safely say, and maybe not bet the farm on it, but we could probably like look into between the lines and how we talk and how things they do in the past. We could probably expect a sizzle reel or a small trailer of some sort, and it'll probably be leaked, and that's great. That's cool. And something in the animation department. I do expect. Something like that, and then also to be released this year about it too. So either it's that new.
We were at the Tales reveal.
Yes,
that's right, and that was in a small room, so something big could happen in those small.
And that was televised in that room we were in.
Yeah, we were, and that was a very small room off the side. And they announced Tales of the Jedi, the Ahsoka version, right, or the Dooku and Ahsoka season. So
yes, the original Tales. So it'd be awesome if they came out with that animation panel. And say like
same thing.
Tales 3, Tales something. Bounty Hunter has come out, and then all of a sudden, hey, by the way, the release date is November, because again, after Andor, we only have Visions, which Visions is very niche.
I only have Andor.
That's it. That's it for the rest of the year. After April.
You guys aren't going to watch Visions at least?
I didn't watch Visions season.
I haven't finished the second one.
Not interested. It's nothing for me. It's not my. When I say that's not my Star Wars, that's literally not my Star Wars. Like I won't do that to the saga. Like even if I hate Rise, I won't say that's not my Star Wars, because it's just Star Wars, right? When you make up bogus Star Wars, that's not my Star Wars.
I watch it because we do this. That's the only I mean, Vision season 3, season 1 of Visions I really enjoyed. Season 2 was okay. We'll see what season 3 has.
I was angry with 1, and so I didn't want to go through 2.
Yeah. My dilemma is it's almost like a wasted talk, because that doesn't mean anything. There's nothing that affects, because again, but it's a standalone homage to Star Wars, and I get that. It's like going back and reading the EU books at this point. It's sometimes I'm like, why bother?
I don't hate that they're doing it. I don't mind that they're doing it. Just not. It's not mine. I don't dig it.
Yeah, like I said, I look at it as an homage thing, and something that I don't necessarily have to run to the TV to watch. And maybe one day I'll
finish season 2.
Actually, side point to that, you see all these pops. I have a pretty complete collection. The only ones I don't have one Visions pop. I didn't buy any of them, and they've got like 5 or 6.
And they're coming out with the Black Series Samurai or the Ronin figure with the droid, and I'm not getting it.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. I know Joey would get it. That's up his alley,
See, there are people with that alley, and that's why I get why they make it. Totally, and go for it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There
is a book, Commander Bly.
There is.
Look out.
There is.
Coming.
Rhino. Yeah, some of the best Star Wars anime is fan made. Hands down, yes, and that's what Visions is. Again,
if they did it like the one that is on YouTube.
Genobi.
Hey, Genobi, the one on YouTube, not the one they put on the
Correct.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus, right?
Yes.
That's the cool shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Brantley.
Dr. Brantley checking in.
Yeah.
The Jabba Band episode turned me off the whole thing, but some people I know really, really liked it. I won't call you out, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again,
what am I watching?
You know,
when that came on, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
here's the thing too. It's like just because it's not in our wheelhouse or some of our wheelhouse, like to really like it, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be out there. And I think Star Wars is big enough for a lot of people, just like the Young Jedi Adventures, just like Resistance. Bly. You want?
That's a really good point because there's a new season of Young Jedi Adventures that I don't dive into that. I bought the toys for like my niece.
Yeah.
But I've never sat down and watched the show.
Yeah.
It's definitely not.
I watched a couple of episodes. It's cute, but it's
very kiddie,
right? I'm about 45 years above the age limit for it. So
of course, but I'm glad it's still there though.
No, me too.
As that entry point for any, but you know what I mean? It's a real cool show rather than like,
I saw a poster recently, like somewhere on the website, and it had like all these characters on it, and they were all live action looking, and the little creature, the little blue guy, was on there with everybody. It's just nice that they include that series in with other stuff, so it makes it all connect. Yeah, and that's how I saw there because it was like a live action version almost. It made it look real with everybody else. Right. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's the best High Republic thing we've had on Disney Plus yet,
and Yoda's in it too. So.
Yeah, that's
what's up, Meek? Meek is checking in.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Yeah, but while we're on the subject of talking projects and everything, I know Chris had put in an article about the Mando Grogu movie, and it had some details to it. And I just want to throw it out there, and we'll continue to talk, and we'll intertwine it here. But the first thing the article had pointed out was the budget for Mando Grogu, and then had broke down all the other from A New Hope to Rise of Skywalker, all the budgets, it shocked me to go back and see and realize that Last Jedi was over $300 million budget. Whatever,
because they expect billions out of all of them.
Exactly,
a billion out of all of them is the expectation.
It takes a lot of money to do a slow speed chase in space.
It sure does. That's a lot of pixels, man. A lot of rendering frames. But the Mando Grogu movie is clocking in at 166 million, and I don't know if that's before or after that tax, because that whole article was about their tax break.
Another 21 million exemption, so that's probably it's probably 180. Extra. That's probably under that too. They'll get an exemption off of that.
Yeah, so it clocked in at at the end of the day, they clocked in at 166 million dollars for this movie. Now, it could be.
It's the lowest since Return.
Yes.
So all the sequels, the prequels. The Rogue One, even Solo must have. This is
Solo
the lowest.
Was 250 some million.
Yeah, this is the lowest since Return.
Yeah. Now,
wow.
You could run with this two ways, right? You could run with it like, oh, well, they're not putting any faith behind it. Like they're not giving it any, even though $160 million is no drop in a bucket when it comes, it's still a big budget film, no matter what, or they're just finding smarter ways of doing things cheaper, just like the volume, right? Like the volume was invented that took place, even though it took a lot of time away from bigger resources, and to maybe they perfected it in a way, but it made things faster and easier for them to really film things and animate things on screen and stuff like that. So you can kind of make the argument too, again, before not knowing all the details, is like they found better, more efficient ways of doing things. Therefore, they can
also have a lot of the sets made already.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Reusing sets. I guess. And
but did you highlight this? I'm sorry if you did.
No.
Dr. Bradley says somebody's listening to their line producer. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's the budget. It's what they were given the budget, right? It's not what their expense was. We don't know if they went over budget. We don't know if it was under budget. We just know the budget. They said you can have this much money.
Yeah, all we know is this is how much it cost them. It was like 166 million. That's what they're done.
Was it what it cost or what they were allowed to use? That's what
I thought that's like that the line at the end was that at the end of the day it cost them 166 million dollars.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
so imagine if they're able to produce a movie that absolutely kicks ass at that low of a budget. I mean,
it's redefining the cinema again.
It really
right?
is.
And
Yeah,
it looks right. We're talking about the volume. If that on big screen, I don't know.
Right, because the volume on the small screen in the first two seasons looked great, but in the third season, it started to falter a little bit.
Yeah.
And some of the wider the universe got, the less realistic it looked. Right.
It got and I was watching a bunch of Star Wars like I always do, because we always do, and I noticed like when they take time in these animations and they're slow moving ships, even in space, and they take time on really concentrating on the ships landing and taking off and stuff like that. That's what gives it the epic feel, right? But the volume tends to be very quick, like whoosh, like the ship just takes off the planet and go. Even Andor had a couple of those scenes where I'm like, don't do that, because it's perfect up to this point, and then when like taking off, and it just makes it feel small. It makes it feel television, and that's where I say, okay, that's the volume. If they could, there is such a thing as the cinematic feel,
there you go. What's the Andor series budget?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look that up.
Take a look at that. Scott, you're on a computer. Can you check it real quick? With the Andor series budget, either one, and then see that, because like I want to say like Mando is like 10 million. I'll check it. Mando is like 10 million an episode, right? Something like that.
Yes.
So that gives you 16 episodes worth. Right, which is quite a bit. That's a lot. So you could probably do some different filters to make it look Andorish.
Just imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi, that series on the big screen. The effects would not hold up, and that was, I want to say, other than coming out here and visiting our neck of the woods for a few episodes, it would not hold up at all on the big screen.
So according to
season 2 of Andor is 290 million.
290 million. Yeah, both seasons combined, $645 million.
Yeah,
over a $500 million. I mean,
so there was 4 movies supposedly, but it's TV, right? So they're expanding it. So they could have done it for a lot less and cut it in. So I mean, it's doable to get that kind of look. We did it on Andor. Looks like movie quality. Put that on the big screen. We're cool.
Yeah. Like,
but don't put the Mando look on it.
Yeah, like you could see where the money's been spent.
Yeah. 100%.
And we did get that like teaser kind of thing for Mando Grogu last year sometime, and what we got was, like I said, Commander Blythe said they had spent a lot of money building that working ATR. Yeah, that was real. I mean, that was 100%. So, but
the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries had a reported production budget of $90 million,
and it showed.
Because they go, just put on the volume and just cheese the snow speeders coming in, the speeders, and
oh god, the speeders.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly where my head was at. Could you imagine that on the big screen?
See, if
no,
right,
the fights on the big screen would be horrible.
Yeah. So with that, within that article, again, there's that 2 rules with that. Like, are we happy that it came under, or will people be disappointed in that and then say like, well, look, they're not even putting money behind it, which, like I said,
no, that only comes out at the end, right? Like if the
very true
out and it's rad and it looks good and it's the story stellar, don't give a shit about the budget. If it comes out and we can see it and it looks like Kenobi on the big screen, then we're like, whoa,
you're right,
$1 million in here,
you're right. We will say something. Yeah,
we would. But it would only, if you could do it for 160 or less, we think it's smarter, because then guess what we get? We get more Star Wars. When they realize, hey, just give us a story, we'll go watch it. We don't give a shit about your budget. You don't have to do XXY,
But also, they have shows them that they can do it at a lower price and produce a quality product.
And if they only have to make up 166 million at the box office for into like that opening, their whole run, and for it to be hey, this is successful because it made 300 million or whatever it is, it's a lot less than.
That's very true, because then you make Solo money and you're a success.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Dr. Brantley, a lot of extra money goes. I'm sorry, Scott. A lot of extra money goes to reshoots when they don't have a solid plan going in. Or they overthink it after it's done. Yeah, I mean, Rogue One was a big reshoot. In my opinion, I think it's because they all lived at the end, at the original. Then they fought for like, we got to kill these characters off, and they reshot it that way. I don't know really the details behind, but
they're going to save a ton of money.
if you remember watching the trailers for Rogue One, I mean, half the scenes in that were cut from the final movie.
Yeah,
because of all those reshoots. So
yeah, as long as they don't have to do that, we'll be fine. And I don't think they will. They're already done, right? Like it's through.
Oh, no, it's done.
Principal photography's done. They're in post production.
Yeah, man.
That's what I mean. There's no reshoots though. I think we're through.
I think at this point they're just gonna take it, market it, and then like I said, they've got a year now to really embed it in people that Star Wars is returning to theaters and make a huge marketing push. Rhino Hobbies, Favreau is a master filmmaker at this point in his career. I'm sure he won't be served shit salad. Yeah, and we talked about this too, about like certain people that are involved.
It's not a Favreau film.
No, Mando Grogu. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it Favreau doing it? Oh, yeah. I don't know why I didn't think that.
The Filoni, the Heir of the Empire.
Heir of the Empire. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that and like we talked about specialties on things like Favreau came in the movie as an actor / director, all that stuff. The TV stuff he got into the Disney Plus, but now that he gets a chance to go right back into that director's seat. And knows how to put a cinematic.
Yeah, he knows how to make it look. He had Iron Man. We're fine, right? Just dull it from Iron Man, though, right? Yeah. You can't have that look, right? His other stuff is pretty well, not all of it.
No,
I'm just thinking Elf and Iron Man, right? Those are bright and happy.
Yeah.
Just don't. You got to dumb down Mando. You got to dull down Mando. You got to make it just grittier. Is all for the theater.
Yeah, Brantley. I mean, like, where he's worked on major films, features in the films that reshoot scenes 2 weeks before the premiere. Yeah, I mean, there always can be something where they.
I just heard the Superman movie got some reshoots, but like productive. Like he wasn't bugged about them. He was just like, I got to do these because I got an audience reception to this. I'm going to tweak this.
Yeah,
I'm sure that costs $1 bajillion to do.
And some pickup shots here and there. Oh no, I got to have him walking away in this direction. Or something along those lines.
Shadow jacked me up. That just looks horrible on screen. He does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was it? Hera's eye color, right? It was original. They made it. They changed it to green because everybody was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But they won't fix the Inquisitor's head. But anyway, or eye color, everything about the Inquisitor. So,
just won't fix the Inquisitor.
It won't fix it. Yeah, we'll leave him alone. But
dude, that show had problems with. That's why you see the $90 million budget. His head would have been another $1 million. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Anything about perspective.
So the entire budget of Revenge of the Sith went into the heads of those characters.
Yeah, the Utapauans. Yeah, the Utapauans.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Inquisitor.
Yeah.
We'll fix it in post. We were hoping if you go back and listen to those old shows of ours, we were like, they'll fix it. They got to. I mean, they have the species, and
we just went through the Sonic crap. Right at that point, it's like, oh, they'll fix it. They hear the outcry. Everybody outcried, or we're not going to do that.
Yeah, so up until the day of, they're like, dude, it's not fixed.
they're going to fix it. Yeah. That's just the.
They spent all the money in the budget on giving him multiple hearts. That's what it was.
Yeah. Him and Reva.
Somehow the Inquisitor came back. Speaking of somehow somebody came back, in that same article, I know this is speculation, and the writer who did that whole budget article put in there. And again, this is dangerous to do if you don't really know what you do, because talks like this happen and it could upset the fandom. But in that article it said Sigourney Weaver. It said appearances by Ahsoka, and it said Moff Gideon, and everybody's like, hold on. Okay, now are we okay? I know.
First of all, before we get into the story part,
go ahead.
The writer probably typoed it or just blowing smoke out of their butt, knowing who was in it before and forgot he died, is what I think they did, right? But to that point, it makes for a good conversation. So,
it makes for a good conversation, because now how we do it, right? We take it for, like you said, what it's worth and what the writer did, but then we also go like, all right, what if? Here's the headcanon part. Here's our theory crafting, right? Okay. Is this going to be a situation where the Mando Grogu movie's big baddie is going to be Moff Gideon again, and it's that adventure of finally defeating him, because in that article I had Bo-Katan, I had Ahsoka but didn't say guaranteed. It just said characters like Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
we never saw a body.
I know, and that's what scares me. That's what scares me. I think Chris brought up another point. Who knows that was the real Moff Gideon?
He was making clones. How do we know that was him?
That's what I'm saying. The one that defeated didn't have to be the real one. And I'm sitting there going, and again, this is Dark Moocher's opinion. That's why it's dangerous to have clones involved in any kind of level, because now you're putting the time travel multiverse thing. I know it's two completely separate way things of doing it, but it's the way of bringing characters back all the time and never having people really die.
Only villains, though. It's okay as long as you're not doing that to Luke all the time. And you're not bringing back Luke all the time. It's cool. But if you're bringing back bad guys through evil ways, magical ways, cloning ways, it's totally cool, because then you have a mission, right? Your mission is to destroy the DNA so they can't clone him anymore.
Right.
It becomes a bigger story. So I'm always fighting Gideon. I'm not just fighting the guy. I'm trying to find the source of the guy now.
Well,
who
as a gamer,
the source of Gideon?
As a gamer, I thought Moff Gideon was a mini boss. It was just a boss you had to defeat to get to the bigger boss.
I 100%.
And
Thrawn being the bigger boss in my head. Right? It was like, okay, we're through Gideon. Let's get to Thrawn now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So and we know this from I mean, that's how I look at it. And so if they do, again, there's avenues for them for that to happen. No one is really gone. it's all there. There's avenues that happen. It did. We don't know if that was the real Moff Gideon that they defeated. He's got clone bodies. You're never right, saw a body,
because that Moff Gideon did not have a mustache, and we all know season 1 and 2 Moff Gideon had a mustache.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to see is see Moff Gideon kind of melted into his armor, but bathing in like a suit of Bacta the entire time with like a little.
Oh no, there's another figure we have to buy.
I'm in.
I know, right?
I'm in for that, or I'm in for a clone of him taking over. Right, I'm in for one that survived but still knows the mission. And if I'm recalling, they're Force sensitive.
He was working on it. He was. Yeah.
So I mean, what if he's got one clone left that's Force sensitive with him? It's like
I'm going to call them Sparty cylinders, because that's what we called them in the old EU days, right? Those Sparty cylinders were broken, and they say they all died in that.
That was just the one room. Right.
Not only that, but they all looked fully formed. It wasn't like they were embryos sitting there. They all looked like Moff Gideon.
Yeah. There's more of him. There's more Gideon. It's like, it wasn't just that platoon.
It could be where Moff Gideon, the actual Moff Gideon, we probably never even seen yet, right? Like that, we've been dealing with the clone the whole time from season 1. And so now Moff Gideon marches in. He's so that's where I'm like,
and he's really old.
Yeah,
and he's like,
exactly. Like he's
okay.
See, this is where it gets kind of like, where's the creativity?
Oh god, Moff Gideon is truly Snoke. That's it. There we go.
Why was Snoke bodies in season 2? It's like
it's when somebody's getting combined and is creating Snoke, right? We thought it was that doctor in Bad Batch would have been cool, right? That guy would have been like a
Hemlock,
cloning himself. Hemlock, there you go. Messing around and cloning and creating himself into Snoke would have been cool.
Would have been amazing.
Combining him with Grogu would be cool.
We all know that Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker said that he insinuated that he had created Snoke. That we're trying to think of a way that could come to be, and not just be a failed attempt at cloning himself, right? It's because that's what Snoke ultimately looked like, was a failed emperor. I guess.
Because in the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, here we go, talk about the sequels. In the beginning, there's Snoke. In the Snokes in where the Emperor's at. It's like, well, why is that?
And that's such a bummer, because in season 2 of Mando, you're right. What we saw in just a quick pass by looked like Snoke clones inside those gonna call them Sparty cylinders again on Navarro, right? That they blew up.
Yeah.
I hope they end up saying the Sparty stuff in the Heir to the Empire thing, right? When we get back in there, because they should have said it in Bad Batch, but I think they were still using Camino stuff. Right, technology. That's probably the problem. Is the Sparty was Heir to the Empire. The prequels came after Heir to the Empire, and then they became the Kaminoans. So I wonder if that change things. Like they're still going to be that type of cylinder.
But were the Sparty they weren't were they a people?
I thought so. I believe it was
it was just what they called the cylinder.
No, it was a race or a place. I forget which one it was, but the Sparty's
that could be the Snokes.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. Like you would have the Kaminoan cloning chamber type of thing.
Right.
That's the Sparty.
Yeah, like Hellrunner, they'll just bring back Gideon to sell more Gideon figures. Yeah.
These helmets aren't moving. Put them on film.
Yeah. That's again. It takes one little thing. Again, there could be 0 Gideons in this whole. He could be really dead and this, but it took that one article and that one name because everything else made sense. And I'm sitting there going, well, if everything else makes sense, then this
it still kind of does. Because we didn't really have a succession plan in place above Gideon. We did see the Shadow Council, obviously, right? And what's going on. But I feel like having another Gideon in there and dealing with the Shadow Council to get to Thrawn. I think there's a step in here we can use, and it would work out in that movie. Because you can't bring Thrawn into Mando Grogu, right? Unless they somehow show up on where they not on
Dathomir. Yeah.
Dathomir.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. So,
if you do you guys think all right, so now here's a question though. Like we always said that the movies precedes everything, right? The bulk of the canon is the movies, right? And
they supersede everything.
Supersede everything, and then Disney Plus was the fill in the blanks, and it did move some storyline along, but since the withdrawal from movies, Disney Plus became the pinnacle of canon.
Yeah.
Now, with Chris's point with that whole thing about like having the movie do a lot more than what Disney like. Do you think it's
I'm having
even
trouble
playing field or
right? I'm having trouble because the movie's the additional piece now to the story, right?
Yeah.
It's not the main. It's like you just said right there. We're filling in blanks with a movie, and it feels weird.
Yeah. So now with like Mando Grogu is thrust in the middle of what Disney Plus is doing, right? So if the masses sees this again, it has to serve 2 purposes, right? It has to do a standalone fun adventure for people to watch it, and then it's got to intertwine itself.
The story.
Yeah, it's got to go right in between Mando 3 and Ahsoka 2. Like there's a plus. So when you watch Ahsoka 2, the events of Mando, we can follow it. The pit can follow it, but I mean, it's going to be where people. I've talked to a lot more people, or I've heard of this a lot more this today of like, oh, just more Star Wars. I don't even understand what's going on. It's like, oh, Star Wars is so saturated and everything, and we're sitting there going like, they haven't finished what they started. You know, we wanted to have a grand plan, and if people are already tired of it, then the movie's got to serve a purpose of a standalone plus a bridge, and I don't know what the balance is. You know, so I guess that's the question of how they're going to do this movie. And here's the thing, they have a lot of time to think about it. They have a lot of withdrawal to think about how to do it. And
or what if they just decide that this is going to be a standalone adventure that doesn't really necessarily link in with everything else?
Yeah, it could be 100% that, right?
Then I'm bothered by it, though.
Yeah, then
yeah, right. Then just do it on Disney Plus for the shit of it. Yeah.
We're looking at another MCU adventure, right? Because the MCU, nothing that happens on Disney Plus really matters in the films, right?
Yeah.
And go back 10 years.
Side adventure.
Marvel was jamming. Right, not even 10 years, right? Getting up to and jamming. We were kind of flaking through a little bit of the sequels, but we're in a really high time of everything.
I feel like once the Eternals hit,
after Endgame, it was over, right? It was really just besides Guardians.
Well, and Spider-Man,
but they were never really, shit.
I hope
so. The Star Wars is doing what it's doing, and kind of iffy. Marvel lost its way, and DC's just been sucking. You know, it's like about the last couple of years, we've been a mess on all of them with just a few hits. Like Star Wars will hit like nail. Cool. Got a couple misses. Marvel, you get things like Deadpool, Wolverine, Guardians, things like that. You're like, okay, there's a couple hit Spider-Man. Okay, that was
and then Love and Thunder. and then
and then you get Love and Thunder, Turtles, Miss Marvel, and everything else, right? She-Hulk and all this shit. Yeah. It's just there's misses, then there's hits. It's not Agatha all along, but Scarlet WandaVision. I liked WandaVision. After
I loved it.
It took me a couple episodes.
It was slow, but
it built up though. It built up. The payoff is really well.
The payoff was great, and then the concept was fantastic. Like that,
and then Loki's 2 seasons.
Yeah. And but WandaVision sort of tied into Doctor Strange. I think that is the only one that really carried over into
and not well,
right? No, not well at all.
No, her being the big bad. It was just.
But then you've got the movies that don't even tie into each other really, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right? And then you've got Spider-Man. No Way Home, it also dealing with the multiverse with the same
side
freaking characters, and it didn't blend,
Right. And do you think Star Wars is going to be following that? Like Star Wars hasn't had a chance to do that, so now here it's not a good thing. I'm saying this, but this is their chance of doing these side missions and just kind of like I said, Mando Grogu is setting up to be. Yeah, it's setting up. Like I said, unless they go, because here's the thing, we're going to be looking at, we might have fun with it, but we are going to be looking at
we'll be analyzing it.
Well, this is in this time frame, meantime, Ahsoka and Sabine are on Peridia, Thrawn and this Night Sister, they're on Dathomir. Like, you can't, is he just chasing, what's he doing? And if we don't have, I think if it's subtle, it probably would satisfy us. Like, okay, at least there's some familiar aspects of it, and we can tie it all in until you go back to Disney Plus and flesh it out with Ahsoka 2. Because I really think like they're withdrawing, and they're gonna do this with Ahsoka 2 is probably gonna be where they're gonna pick up where Mando left off, meaning Ahsoka's be the center point, and Mando's gonna be intertwined with it. Then Filoni's movie wrap it up and do that, right?
Yeah, it's too bad Heir to the Empire is only one movie. Because I could see that we just got like everybody's origin story. Like say we're go back in time and we're A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
We just saw and that could be Heir of the Empire. We just saw everybody's origin. Everybody meets up in Heir of the Empire and goes for 3 movies. Yeah. And this is like so that way a new person coming in didn't have to know anything about him. All of a sudden you had the Mandalorian with Grogu, just happens to be a Force sensitive with a bounty hunter, right? Meeting up with Ahsoka, this Jedi, or whatever, or Ezra, and kind of meeting up and doing this thing. I think that would work kind of neat, actually, if they did it like that. But because you have to make it too, where it's not. How do you do Heir to the Empire without linking it to all the Disney Plus for the regular people? Right?
Yeah,
I don't think
there's vested people already.
There's a balancing act that needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
They can't ignore what's happened on Disney Plus, but they can't hang all their hats on what's happened on Disney Plus. So there's a balancing act that has to happen. And
my opinion,
I do trust that that the directors got it. I mean, I have to.
I really think they should have just left the Mandoverse on Disney Plus. Went back to the theaters with the time, whatever it is that they were doing the 3,000 years before, the Old Republic, New Jedi Order, and then do movies based on that in a wholly separate medium. And then you could keep Disney Plus's you can balance, but I think the whole thing about the overall release should be just Disney Plus.
Yeah, because it's going to feel like a failure. Because like you said, there's people invested in the story, but you got to look at Ahsoka's viewership to know what the vesting is. Right? And is that viewership high enough to carry a flagship movie?
That's why what Commander Bly is saying, basically this, like, I hate to say it, but I've actually got me expecting Mando Grogu to be an eye roll. I really wish it wasn't the case, because with that, and then what Chris just said, right? You got vested stories and everything. So I don't know if this movie is going to be that vested into it.
Hit the mainstream. I don't
It'll just be a pretty side mission. And it said maybe hints of what's going on.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of what Scott said about the Marvel movies. They don't really hit.
No,
right.
They don't.
And then I guess we have to go. I guess we have to go in there, with the under delivering over under promise,
high hopes, low expectations.
Yeah, we have to go in there of like, hey, this is a side mission. If they get anything more than that, we're like, yeah, it was awesome. So
no, I can't.
I know. I
can't go in thinking, oh, good, I'm going to go watch a 2-hour side mission.
I mean, wouldn't it have been cool? Man. Wouldn't it have been cool if Mando season 3 didn't wrap up the way it did, right? Where they fought the big boss, they won back Mandalore at the very last episode. What if it would have ended on a cliffhanger and this film would have been the big that would have drawn people into the
you think
theater.
so?
I think it would have.
I think the way they did it is the purpose of bringing people in the theater, because you know what I mean? Like there's like I said, if you leave it at that, then you're expecting everybody to go into this movie already vested into Disney Plus.
So if you think ending it the way with him on his, done and
retired,
so like almost looking,
because the way I see Mando season 3 was like they in my opinion they rushed it to that point so they can have a fresh start. So anything continuing would be like this whole thing where at the beginning of Mando Grogu they're hunting down a bounty, and it's almost like this is where they're doing. They turn it in, and then that's a new adventure from that point on.
Well, yeah, you're right, because we did have the talk already. That's where we met Zeb.
Yeah, right.
Zeb and Carson. So he is going to be on a new adventure with these guys. We're going to be set back up with the Republic is what's going to be on that side with them. So and he'll be joined up. I think Mando Grogu, if anything. Okay, here's where I am. We're in a movie. We don't have to pay Harrison Ford. You don't have to pay everybody, right? Big money. Let's just CGI the shit out of the OG people and let's do it in the movies. Let's go.
I agree, man.
And that's
how you get 100. How big was the budget? 160
166 what it clocked in at. Yeah.
So 90 on CGI.
Is that CGI de-aging Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and is that kind of money?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think so, dude. Because you only pay. Okay, you're paying an actor, and you have a YouTube dude that was doing it for free anyway. This can't cost $90 million.
You're right. He wrote an AI program that did it.
Right. So you paid him for that, and guess what? Whoop, not a problem, folks.
You know what sucks is that for the longest time, since we've been doing, like I said, 299 episodes in, we've always sit there and went like, we just want to see Star Wars unfold in front of our eyes and talk about it and live in the world, right? And now we're worried about viewership, meaning are the normies gonna get this? Yeah. Because if you asked us 10 years ago, we were like, cares?
Shit about the normies. Yeah.
10 years ago, the normies were into Star Wars because it was back, everybody was coming to see Star Wars, but it's been gone for so long in shifting over to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You're right. It's
almost
weird
like
are we gonna be able to draw them back out?
Yeah, it's almost like Disney Plus was a great idea. Just because you could have doesn't mean you should have, almost. Because now, I mean, hindsight, right? We're looking at this and going like, now are people not, because theaters are hurting. Nobody's really going to, not nobody, but it's not like it was in the past, but they're trying to get Star Wars back into that cinematic universe in the theaters, trying to get that experience back, and that's hence that withdrawal a little bit. And then
Grogu is the perfect way to do it. He's kind of the face of Star Wars. And if I say to say the normies again, right? The fuggles.
The fuggles.
They'll come out. Maybe this, since they haven't been watching, it's kind of like, oh, there's a Star Wars in the theater. Let's go.
True.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah. So maybe that makes up for. It's just tricky. I wouldn't want to be in that marketing department just because.
No, it's a tough. It's a tough it's a tough inner struggle to, in Lucasfilm in general, that they want to get everybody. They want to get us. They want to get the normies. They want to get everybody into Star Wars. And I don't know if they really have that much vested interest on, does this person understand why they're going to the theater and not watching this on Disney Plus? Do they really care? Like we care. Like we're actually trying to like bridge that the viewership. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like
we're worried about it. Are they?
We're worried about it.
Right.
I don't know if they are. I think they're just like Star Wars. Boom, Star Wars here. Just put a sticker on it. They'll buy it. And
they'll be okay if we do this because the Grogu's in it. Just make him talk. Just give him his first word.
Now, I completely agree with what Dr. Brantley is saying at 903 right there. And this is what I've been saying for years. Get out of the Skywalker saga. Move way forward. Move way back. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were guardians of peace and justice, right? Yeah. Show us those thousands of generations. I think you could build a story that doesn't involve the characters we already know, that's set so far back in the past.
But they've got different plans for all that. And they just haven't got there yet, right? That's the problem, is they just need to freaking do it. And
remember,
and get there. We had the Watiti one. We've got the new Jedi Order, which is in the forward, and we've got the Dawn of the Jedi in the back. They've got these movies planned. They just don't freaking put them to the damn camera.
Remember, they can't take anything that's unsolicited and put it into their world, right? So
we need to stop talking about it.
Well, no. So Lucasfilm, you have to contact us. okay, privately, and we'll sit in a room. And we'll
off.
tell you exactly how to revitalize Star Wars. I got it. I have it all figured out.
We'll sign NDAs.
I'll sign whatever
We're
you
not
want.
even asking for money, really.
Yeah,
really. Like
maybe a little.
Just put us in the movies in the background, and it will be good. And then make action figures. That's our only.
Give us a little residual on our acting, or maybe a little bit, a little residual.
You know what I mean? Like there is. I'm telling you, and there is a bubble that is an untapped bubble in Star Wars that they can revitalize the entire franchise if they really did it. But again, I have to stop telling them the story about it because they can't use it. They won't.
Yeah, we need to go through all of our episodes and start knocking out all the
it'll just be silent. Every theory crafting would be silent, and that's why the sequels suck, because we had them all figured out and they used nothing.
Yeah, they're like, every good idea we had, reshoot, take it out.
It's like, dude, check this out. We can't use Darth Leia. We can't use it.
Can't use it.
Those guys already said it. We can't use it.
See, Dr. Brantley's got it right there. 0.5% of the gross. There we go. That's all we need. That's all we need. That's it. Half a point. That's it. But I mean, seriously though, why are we moving forward with the Rey movies?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead and put some stuff to paper. Maybe if something works, great. But why are we going to confuse? We've said it before. Why are we going to confuse people by putting Star Wars in 3 different eras at the same time? Right?
Yeah.
Disney Plus, Rey in the future, and Old Republic in the past. Why are we doing that?
While we're dealing with Andor.
While we're dealing with Andor.
Well, it's a great question. It's a great question because there's an opportunity for them to just kind of like move past it, but they are doubling down on the characters like the Rey, and by doing that movie and then maybe projecting a Dawn of the Jedi or a New Jedi Order era where you see the backlash already. I mean, the backlash it's still happening to this day and to throw more into it. It kind of that's why there's disdain. That's why there's this conflict on the internet, because the fandom was vocal about it, even though the minority was hateful about it. But I think overall, I don't think there's a lot of people that go, "Oh my God, more sequel stuff, more Rey, more." I don't see it. I don't even see it with the positive people that accept those. So what makes you go to the writing room and say, all right, look, we're going to make another 15 movies and 5 more Disney Plus shows based off of New Jedi Order and Rey and stuff, and using those characters that we created to do that, knowing that, and then get mad at the fandom for not liking it,
not following it. Yeah,
you don't like it. Well, that's your problem. It's like.
But another thing that you said right there too, they need to do what they've done with this Heir to the Empire saga, and that is bring in these known characters from the old EU. Right? If they just attacked the Old Republic and threw everybody out, if they threw out Bane, they didn't use Bane, they didn't use Revan, they didn't use Zana, they didn't use any of those characters.
Yeah.
They're going to be, people are going to be pissed. It's going to be that whole, there is no source material.
Yeah.
Thought process behind it. And I'm afraid, I think now with the story group, the way they are with who's in charge now, because we still have not, we have not seen anything on screen since Filoni took over as head of the story group, right? Or the creative director.
Right.
We haven't seen anything yet. I think with him in charge, we have a good possibility of getting some reimaginings of those old characters. But if you just throw people out like Rey, they're like you said, they're doubling down on Rey because she's their property, right? I don't want to see them go back in the past and not touch any of those characters and just create something completely new because it's their property.
Yeah,
right?
If you need that,
I think Revan and Bane are pretty safe because they use them. And those are, I actually think they know better than to screw with Revan and Bane.
Look, man,
Bane's been used in canon as the creator of the two.
Yeah,
the two. Revan's been mentioned in other stuff, including Rise of Skywalker.
You've seen Plagueis.
If we had
these are all canon, so we'll use them.
If we had an Old Republic trilogy come out and there was no Revan, there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it.
Yeah. Even rename
all about him,
right? Just like
yeah, the whole era is about Revan. It's there's a reason why that Old Republic exists. You know what I mean?
But they're doing Dawn of the Jedi, which is 25,000 years before, or they're saying that that's one of the things in the works is Dawn of the Jedi, which is so far before
25,000 years.
25,000.
Now, to not use those character names, right? Could you get it? That's like kill drama, right? Type of thing, right?
Do whatever you want.
Exactly. I was gonna say nobody cares.
Yeah,
I've got those comics. I've read those comics a couple times. They're not great. So
nobody cares on
that's
those.
A fresh start. I
agree.
That the only source material
it's just cherry picking right there, but that's absolutely 100%. 100%.
And the only source material you have there's Force users, and some are using the light side and dark side before they even called themselves a dark side and light side. And the separation of the factions and
regular
the ideology.
Swords and maybe a laser
blades,
but corded with a backpack.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that we would like to see. Characters
part of the
have at it.
Yeah, part of the thing in that Dawn of the Jedi was the first lightsaber. It was the first lightsaber. They had found the first lightsaber, but the only way to get it to work was to use the dark side on it. So it was a very interesting premise, but it wasn't executed well.
Yeah.
So I think otherwise everybody was using regular swords and stuff. I think it's a fertile ground for them to attack.
Absolutely. Right? Like Felipe said, as long as they don't go the Marvel way, Sith and Jedi fighting a super enemy. Yeah, like the video game stuff. Right?
Yeah.
They have to be fighting. That's why I love that Old Republic era, because it is the Sith Empire versus the Galactic Republic. And you have two councils. You have the Dark Council and you have the Light Council. I mean, it's just it's such a cool era. And then you have Revan in between that was both of them, and then his struggle and everything else. And I think it's just such a cool.
Well, even when you get to Bane, right? You're the Army of Light and the Army of Dark. Right. And it's just.
And then you go, like I said, and you have the Old Republic era, and then you have the like I said, the Bane Rule of Two era.
They're like 1,000 or two apart.
Yeah, Old Republic is 3,000 years. Bane is 1,000 years, or 1,000.
Listen, Disney. Okay, serious talk right here.
Yeah.
Okay, Disney, listen up. I will even accept a thought bomb if you make this right. Okay, the stupidest named weapon in all of Star Wars EU, the thought bomb, dumbest shit ever. Bring it. I will accept it. I will say it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Just make it. If that's what you're hung up on, if that's why we're not seeing Bane in live action or even animated at this point, just do it.
It's so funny because I wish they would say, hey, look, they would hold up the wish list for Celebration they would hold up the Bane trilogy and go, hey guys, we're going to adapt it, not reinvent it, and not maybe do everything in here, but we're going to adapt this to live action.
And then Dave Bautista walks out.
Yeah, exactly. Do it. If they say we're going to do a live action adaptation of this, I think people would be like, go for it, man. We
finally getting Idris Elba.
Yeah, and not just say Waititi is doing the Bane trilogy. I bet.
God.
You know what I mean?
How many screaming goats are we going to get in that, right? I mean.
Yeah. I think there should be a rule of two. It's like, it's just... Oh man, but
I mean, there was in that, because they did adapt the first Bane novel into a comic series.
Yeah,
and it's terrible. The artwork is terrible. It looks like it looks like Lord of the Rings. The Jedi are elves, and they're flying in on a ship that actually looks like a Viking longboat. It's really dumb. The visuals are horrible.
Ouch!
Don't do that. Just don't do that. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, that would take the roof off a place though. If you came out with a rule of two duology, right? Don't do a trilogy, just do the two, and then because that's what it would be, and that'd be more fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like I said, and then really make the people watching going like, I remember this in the book. Like I remember, like this happened in the novel. Like this, maybe
fighting Xana, going through the whole thing, being in the mines from there to the end where we don't know if the essence transfer or not.
Yeah, you can take some liberties. You can make, because you got to speed things if you only have so much time.
Sure.
Okay, that's cool. But like I said, it'd be great if they really looked at the source material. They really looked at it and go, look, we got 200-300 novels here, and tons of comment, and we got a lot of stuff that, yes, they are pulling names and they're switching a lot of things out. But if they really, I think there's something they haven't done yet in the 10 years that they've had the IP was an adaptation of something. You know what I mean? They really haven't done it. So why not test the waters with a Bane trilogy where it's not going to mess up the entire, it really wouldn't. If they adapted it to the source material,
no change.
Something that's not been done in the history of Star Wars,
and see how that works. Like, and see how that, how the audience reacts to that kind of concept, right? And then it could go like, all right, cool. Well, now that we have the Old Republic, it's like now we can do this.
Because you know what the best things about DC? They're animated adaptations of their comics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do an adaptation of that show just once.
Yeah.
I have this image in my head of the last shot of the Bane movie, and it's just Xana walking away, and she turns her head, and you just see a glimmer in her eye that's like, maybe.
Or they have different, they have different color eyes the whole time, but when you see Xana last time, they're Bane's color.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, TD3 Trooper. That's what I'm saying, man. This has been.
She backed that off. She backed that off later. She did. She said that like a knucklehead, and then
I know it's on record, but
she did backtrack.
But I think we're still mad at the fact that it was even just said.
Yeah, I know. You're really a knucklehead for saying it, for sure.
Exactly.
You run the
yeah.
And it's obvious just from what they've been doing forward that there is source material. They're diving into it, or else we wouldn't have people like Grand Admiral Thrawn in the series.
Yeah.
We wouldn't,
you keep hiring.
I think she meant they weren't adapting anything. You know what I mean? Like it was a dumb way to say it.
You keep hiring Sam Witwer. You have Dave Filoni, the people that will embed guy. Don't do that, and have a voice, and they listen to those people. That's what they're on our side with this stuff, and they're still involved. You know, like a lot of times they pull people aside and say, "Look, the comic said this, and we got to do this," and they listen to it. You know, so the more fans or creators that are involved, that are us in there, that we're just don't let those guys go.
Just keep hiring fans. That's all.
Here's our gatekeeping, the right fans, right? Like,
fans.
Like, we're not gonna put
we need people that look like us.
I mean,
we need a bunch of gray-haired Gen Xers in there.
I mean, identical, because
I don't mean identical. I don't even mean race and sex. I just mean we were all born in 77 or before.
Yeah, I mean,
we're old.
That's the thing. It's like
due to old stupid shit.
We don't trust any other people to do it.
That's all.
I trust me.
Yeah,
I can do it.
I like the younger people, but I want to control it. That's all.
Whoever said Star Wars 77 is out. Just
right. I do trust Filoni so far. He's not really steered us wrong, except for the occasional episode that didn't really matter. And so far,
Favreau's been awesome. Like really good, pleasantly surprised.
Let him have it.
Yeah. Like you said, Scott, maybe they are. And maybe this is, and maybe it took the 7 years in between movies to really kind of go, all right, look, guys, Disney Plus, we're spending so much money and we're getting views. But here's the thing. The money is at the theaters. Shorter content, whatever it is, even if it's bingeable, we've got to hit a stride to get people to watch Star Wars. Do they understand it? I don't know. That's for the podcasters to break it all down. And that's cool with us, right? Because we
live in a world where that works for some people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that totally does work, actually.
Wasn't it somebody who said they were making a movie that they wanted to make sure that it was not, I think it was whenever they made Captain America Civil War, right? They wanted to make a movie that people couldn't pick apart. And they need to have that same mentality when dealing with Star Wars. They really do. You need to go in. It's like the writer of Andor who said, what was it that he said? He take this shit more serious than anybody else has ever taken Star Wars before.
Yes.
And you can look at Andor season 1 and say, yes, that is, you can tell.
Yeah.
So what happens with season 2, if it follows that same trajectory, let's let him take another stab at Star Wars. Let's let him take a stab at the Force and what it means to be a Jedi versus Sith, right?
Yeah, because
love that.
You're right. He's done. There's no nitpick in those two.
Right.
I said the nitpick on me is obvious, but that's what he was in.
The time,
right?
The era.
So as far as the films and the things and the whatever, nothing at all.
I would love it.
And the characters I don't like, I'm supposed to not like.
Right.
Well, not my Mothma.
Right.
But
by the way,
that's
I'm
just
sorry.
your character.
Oh, go ahead. I'll finish with.
I was just gonna say Stu John right there, but Andor had a building with bricks. Well, dude, Luke's lightsaber was a flash from a camera.
Yeah, but I mean, Andor was more earthly than anything. But I mean, like, there's Tatooine's made of stucco.
Yeah,
stucco exists.
I mean,
Tatooine has sand. But those bricks were people.
Hoth has
right?
ice.
But every brick on Andor were people. The compressed remains of people to build really the society.
Dark.
Aha.
Really dark. I like that.
Oh, by the way, Chris, there is a Mon Mothma panel at 4:00 on Friday. All about her.
Shit, I'm gonna watch it. So look,
I wrote that down. That's my only note to be like, okay, there's a Mon Mothma panel.
So the two latest books
Friday
to come out are one, Reign of the Empire with Mon Mothma on the cover.
Yeah.
The next one comes out is an Acolyte book with Vernestra Rowe.
Yeah.
So my two least favorite people
Great.
Are the covers of the book. So I'm all obviously into them.
Yeah. Yes, dude. I get it, man. We yeah. Mon Mothma.
There was no sarcasm.
Yeah, you totally meant it. Yeah.
Mon Mothma. It needs to be a little bit fixed here in season 2. Like I said, I watched season 1 again. I told you, and I was better with her.
Yeah, no,
but I just don't be so wishy-washy. I just hate it. That's all.
I think it's one of those things. It's one of those things too. It's like it's not as powerful as Boba Fett. It's not as meaningful, but we did have a preconceived notion of her character. Just the little snippet we got in Return of the Jedi, and in Rogue One, and from other EU
and
stuff.
Books after EU. First shot.
So when it's when she's this fragile in Andor and this fragile in the Mandoverse.
Oh no, bro! She's fragile in everything. That's my problem with Mon Mothma is. She's fragile in the books too.
But we didn't grow up that way with her. What I'm saying is like,
well, you're right. Return of the Jedi, completely different vibe.
Yeah. One little sentence, one blurb. We got like a whole back here says this is a true leader. This is a powerful leader, and then it's like you're fragile as AF, as the kids say.
Yeah, I'd like to give you permission to, but I can't. It's in Rebels. It's in Andor. It's in everything.
Yeah. I'm gonna give. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything and then smile. Yeah, I get it.
It's funny because she's leading a rebellion as almost like a politician that's still a part of the Empire, right? She's still very political about it. She's still trying to do it the right way. She's not quite leading a rebel group of guerrilla warriors.
Yeah.
She's still trying. It's almost like she's acting as if she's a chancellor in her own right.
Yeah.
That's right.
She's the enemy within for the Empire.
Guerrilla guy right now, right? Lucien.
There you go. Yeah. And Saw, but Saw is the extreme. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we'll see after that panel. Maybe there's some news.
That was a good point, Scott. There's 3 different levels here, right? With them, Mon Mothma, Lucien, and Saw. So
absolutely, right.
And I think Andor, we're hopefully going to see them all 3 play against each other or with each other to figure out.
Yeah,
well, they have to become an alliance at some point.
They have to.
And that happens in Rogue One. That happens really in Rogue One as an alliance. Before they were cells,
we got them all.
What I mean is just them grouping together those 3, not so much the alliance, but an alliance, right? So you mean like Saw, Lucien?
Yeah, like I said in Andor right now, Mothma, she's not leading anything. She's just part of a resistance that's trying to, and then Luthen is trying to bring them all together.
We need to see the break between Saw and them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they went to war with each other to form this alliance, right? If Mon Mothma led a group against Saw, and Saw was forcibly removed from whatever the rebellion is that exists.
Yeah, Saw kind of takes the place of the guy in. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, go ahead.
The Bail Iblis from Heir to the Empire. He was the one that Mon Mothma had a break with back then. He was from Corellia. Sorry, that just hit me right when you were saying it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it'd be an interesting take on it though if they were all working together and then Saw did something just a little too much and was.
I think it's already happened. And when I watch Andor, Andor's
right before A New Hope. Yeah, this is 5 years before still. 4 years before.
I think that
we can still see him halfway normal.
Oh
In Rebels, they're still trying to work with, and they send the gang to Genosha to find
right. There's not that complete
rescue
attachment yet, just yet.
Yeah,
he's not completely psycho yet. He's not paranoid yet.
Yeah,
right?
gotcha.
Like Rebels. So we could probably see him just a little bit dialed down still, and working with them, but at the edge or leaving them, you know.
Yeah, that's for you, Mooch.
We don't talk. I don't
Felipe's
talk.
comment.
Who's Holdo?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about Holdo.
Yeah.
Felipe, I don't like her.
Oh man. Stopping by seeing the young senator because Leia's gonna be a young senator.
Holdo is in the
Right?
Senate,
And
right?
Holdo is with her in the young senators, whatever they called it in the books.
Yeah,
right?
the young senators. Yeah.
I don't think I think where we're at, he doesn't the showrunner of Andor, the director of Andor, does not give a shit about the.
He's not that
the
vested in the
outside
Star Wars.
influences. Yeah, he's not. He's got a story to tell with these main characters. I don't think he's going to delve. Like, I don't think we're going to see the rebels. I don't think we're going to see Kanan or Hera or any of those.
Oh no, I do.
I hope we do, but I do not think we will.
I wouldn't expect.
We won't see. I wouldn't expect Kanan. Freddie Prinze is done for the most part, I think. But I would 100% expect to see Hera, the Ghost, Chop, probably Zeb.
Like I said,
so.
I think
we'll see. I hope so.
I think they're going to be the ones that are going to rescue Mon from the death sentence that she gets in.
But we saw that in Rebels, so they won't
redo
it.
But
they're not going to redo it.
Andor goes through it, and she's. I mean, we're going to get. It's going to go right through that timeline.
We could see them returning her in a season.
Here's the thing: there's a perfect opportunity for it,
or all of them in Yavin.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the thing. But they've all got to be there. We know they're around. So,
all right, we might not see it, but there's a perfect opportunity to see it. Like,
oh yeah.
And we've been saying that for a lot of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like,
this is the rebellion, and they have made the rebel crew like they are the first rebel cell type of thing, right? They are like the main rebel cell, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right, getting this going. And Hera's the best pilot in the galaxy. Right. She'll argue with Han. So with Han's not in the picture yet, she's definitely the best pilot in the galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, so
there was that cartoon that did argue about that.
Yeah. The Galaxy of Adventures.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode.
That was one of the better episodes. They weren't bad. Those weren't bad.
I think they even dealt in those episodes with the Ewoks eating stormtroopers too.
Something like that. It's a cannibal episode.
Yeah, that was crazy.
There was an IG-88 going after Leia episode, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think
yes.
Leia got her Bausch outfit that way.
Yes.
Yeah. There were a couple good fill-ins, right?
Yeah.
Those weren't bad.
Yeah.
All
right, guys. Well, 30 days till we dive into Celebration. We've got our 300th episode next week. And we're gonna kick it in gear and we'll just talk Star Wars like we always do, and but it'll just be a little bit extra special for 300 episodes. And of course, a little bit after that, we got our 8-year anniversary that we've been doing this for 8 years. 8?
Good
yeah.
Lord.
Jeez, 8. Okay.
Jesus.
But as you know, I think it's good. I think honestly, to recap, I think it's good that we have a little bit of a break and more time to marinate things and speculate and get things rebalanced in Star Wars. And yeah. Oh, Rhino, are you awesome? Maybe Rhino could be our
correspondent, our
on the street.
Correspondent.
Yeah.
Ship that man a Sarlacc shirt. Let's go.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep in touch, Rhino. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put responsibility on you. I want you to have fun.
Oh, I do.
Here's this, do this.
Do this, and you're not getting paid shit for it, but you're gonna like it.
All right, but anyway, guys, that was awesome. Pitt, you guys were on fire like always. We'll do this again next week, of course. Ernie's not here, so I'll do the outro as I always do anyway, and then I kick it over to him. So
to redo the outro.
Yeah. Ernie, just redo everything
more professionally.
Yeah, big time, more professionally. As the last off continues, what is the last off? If the last person to leave a comment in our comment section, we're going to send a prize out to you. A little bit of a discrepancy that How Runner did bring to my attention that I don't know if it's for everybody, but I don't know when YouTube does cut off the chat. But I see it on I keep my YouTube up and I see the very last comment until it stops. So I don't know, guys, if you refresh or get it, I don't know how that works on your end. So I apologize if there's any discrepancies if you're last and it doesn't show up on ours, because I know that Hal Runner screenshotted, but it was a good 15, 20 more messages down that it actually stopped. So again,
we've honestly got to keep in the spirit of fairness. We have to keep it to where what we see.
Yeah.
Right. We've got to be the ones who see the last message. And I wasn't here last week, but Mooch took my place, and he kept a good eye.
Commander
on it,
Bly
so.
paid to back me up on that too. So.
Oh wow, wow! But I will tell you this:
So
whoever
here's the deal. Just say what we say goes. Take your free shit and enjoy it.
Pretty much. However, there will be a second place. Also, we did come up with a second place prize. So if you don't,
we are such suckers,
don't get that.
Right?
Yes, I am. I went and pulled it out of my toy room. I'm also in education, so I feel like everybody needs a participation.
Participation trophies and shit.
There is a secondary prize. So yes.
Arthur Henderson, thank you for checking us out. Yes, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, and then of course every other
notification.
Yeah, hits a bell notification. You will get that. YouTube has been working on that. Every other Monday we do a toy chest, a toy show, talk about everything collectible Star Wars too. We dropped one this week. And of course, links in the description below to all our affiliates, SKN Network, Blitz Transmissions, Tashi Station Emporium for all your figure stand and display needs, plus some awesome 3D printing guides and everything. We update on our Pit Joy coming up really, really, really soon. My fingers are sore from sanding a lot, but it's worth it. Sure. Really fast. We have got our May 4th event happening on May 4th. Which is it's a Sunday, so it's going to be an all-day event at Better Days. More details to follow, but if you're not in our area to join us, please organize your own May 4th event. Make Star Wars a thing, which you always do. I don't really have to tell you guys, right? I mean, May 4th is our holiday. Don't let any other holiday tell you otherwise. So just want to put that reminder, if you're in the area and you want to join us for a night of trivia, there will be some live music, some specialty drinks. It's going to be an awesome night. So
all to benefit Chips for Kids, a nice toy charity. Admission into the event is actually just an unwrapped toy of $10 or more. It's all you need to get in there and have some fun.
Yeah. Awesome prizes, awesome time. And so there's that. Thank you, everybody in the pit. Chris, thank you. Scott, thank you. Ernie, thank you.
Good luck, Ernie.
Let the last off commence. With that, Scott.
Keep it nerdy, everybody. Last off.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.